Hello, everyone. Again, Hassan Akramat here for the third podcast with one of the amazing Dannah. Now, let me introduce who Dannah is. Dannah is founder of a YouTube channel called Rebels of SaaS. We're going to talk more about what Rebels of SaaS is all about. And she's also director of customer success at Otter. Dannah, thank you so much for taking out some time for this podcast. I want you to introduce yourself to my audience and tell us who you are.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me today. I absolutely, I have a little bit of a fear of missing out when it comes to you as a person. So whenever you say, hey, let's go do something, I'm like, yes. So I essentially have had a very interesting journey in tech, B2B SaaS now, 12 years, built global success models, people in tech 4 times now. I look back on it, honestly, I've learned that you just keep learning. And, after some layoff that happened to all of us over the twists and turns of the macroeconomic tech sort of environment over the last few years, I said, hey, let's talk about how we can do things a little differently. So I started really out of the pain of all of that, the pain of layoff and not understanding that, to turning it into a podcast I didn't expect people to listen to, but they do. And then it's now a platform, and we just released a website. And then I also am actively, hustling for this amazing company, leading their customer success team, Order. They're a great global company that brings really inside of IOMT and medical, but inside of manufacturing as well, visibility into assets infrastructure to really get security posture right. So it's a fun and crazy life. I also have 2 kids, and I'm your friend. So
All right, great. Since you talked about some layoffs at the start of this conversation, I want to understand how Dana keeps herself motivated in such hard times.
I think it all goes back to the simple thing of appreciating the little things. I literally was just posting about this morning, but my kid and I, we were driving yesterday, and I was talking to her about phones and how, when I was little, we didn't have phones everywhere. We had these great big archaic dinosaur looking bag phone things that basically didn't work more than they worked. And she was like, "Well, mom, but it's okay because they were dinosaurs when you were growing up, right?" And I'm like, "Are you serious?" But after I got over that, I said, ultimately, the little things, the conversation, kids, looking at family, looking at people. I think one thing that all of these layoffs have really taught us is the power of connectedness and network in an odd way. And so I think the layoffs and this sort of sad situation in general from the macro level has somehow, it was like COVID and now economy. And somehow as humans, we've just been able to get closer and closer. It's all about connectedness for me.
That's 100% correct. At the end of the day, your net worth is your network, so that's correct. All right, Dana, can you walk my audience through a journey of you landing into SaaS world?
It was honestly so weird. So I started right out of school. I wasn't one of those people that had this scholarship or free ride to college. Basically, my mom one day, she said, hey, you got to go to work. And so I worked myself selling Halloween costumes and then later bridal gowns. That's where I got into sales, by the way, commissionable bridal gowns. Talk about learning customer experience. Okay. Brides are tough. They're tough. They're tough ICP out there. But I did retail and worked myself through school. Once I got out of grad school, I got a master's in public administration. Fun fact: I've never worked for government, so that's the really strange part of it. And had my first sort of guess leadership opportunity right in a retail store environment. Helped a company called Stage Stores open and grow some retail locations across central and eastern U.S. and then went to work for a company called CenturyLink, who at the time was dabbling in like managed services, IT services, telecommunications, one of the largest in the world. But they also had flavors of these software things. And so I learned then about the customer experience piece and some of the things to push and pull. And then, it's just been this sort of weird, fast roller coaster ride of SaaS since, great companies. At the time, it was Sandata out of Port Washington, New York, that did electronic visit verification for home health. And now HHA Exchange, another great company. Since then, they've changed names. But after that, I went to work for a couple of other great companies. AbbVie, I think very much of Krishna Dorothy, the CEO of that organization. And then, of course, Order, because ultimately I want to believe and do something that's impactful. And I think the work that we're doing in Order is important to the global humanity in a way. Keeping people safe. Cybersecurity is such a big thing. It just is, especially in medical and manufacturing.
Correct.
But ultimately, Hassan, it's just, I said this to you before. I got here by mistake, especially the podcast platform stuff. Like that was just to stay sane after layoff.
I've been following a podcast. You're doing an amazing job, I would say.
I would say you too. I mean, and your Toastmasters. I love the Toastmasters stuff and how you level people up. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. As a director of customer success, how your day looks like on daily basis?
Chaos, utter chaos. It's like a circus. There are tigers. It's organized though. Somehow stuff gets done because of two things. Number one, many years ago, I learned that strategically prioritizing has to happen. The other thing is teaching your people to say no and also strategically prioritize if you're a leader. And then the other piece of it is leveraging tools. And there are some really great tools out there that are being spun up from an AI perspective. I mean, a couple of like my favorites, Weaverly Twine, there's some newbies, but like Flola, I cannot love enough on. Just an amazing tool to help increase time to value and also just make things easier for implementation, onboarding, and sales like demo room environment teams. We can't do everything we need to do from a budget perspective now. There's just too much on one person. So we have to figure out how to amplify. And I think it's about strategically doing that and leveraging AI. And I think we say that a lot in community, but like there's so much value to that.
That is correct. And also at Motive, we're also leveraging AI for a lot of stuff, especially in terms of forecasting churns. So yeah, AI is now yeah,
Interesting. Okay.
yeah. Okay. As a leader, as a director, let's say you have a group of people who are reporting to you directly. Some of them are self-motivated, just like me, and some of them needs a little push. So how do you make sure that everyone in your team give their best shot?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the thing that can't really be, I talk about leveraging AI a lot, but I think the thing that really can't be really assisted in a useful way is leading people from an artificial intelligence standpoint. There has to be a leader, there has to be someone to drive that motivation and recognize what pulls people and pushes people. And I think that you have to be able to go to your team, say, this is where we're going, let's go together, collaborate, which is harder, right? Because it's easy to just say, do it my way, right? But that's not reality. That's not where you get to where you're going. And then for those that aren't motivated, find creative ways to motivate them. So what that looks like tactically is, hey, maybe we spiff. Like for example, if you're trying to equip your people to own renewals, well, tactically that's great, but like how do we make that happen? Let's create some shared ownership across sales as well as CS and give CS a spiff. It doesn't have to be a huge commission percentage. It can be $100, it can be anything, but there's a financial motivation, there's that. If there's someone who just really does not want to be where they are on my team, for that example, they don't have the passion and the pull to get there, whether or not it's based in motivation or something outside of that, then I really try to walk them and work with them less from a disciplinary stick lens and more of, hey, let me help you get to where you want to go. maybe you're just a really great support level consultative, like consultative human that is going to go and make $300,000 as a technical resource. Maybe customer success is not your thing, and that's okay. It's about the people, I think, and figuring out what is inside of each of them.
That's a great answer. I think that's a great perspective. And talking about Spiff, yeah, we do have some similar mechanism in our company to push CS to take the ownership of the renewals, and we're getting a lot of success. So spot on that. Like-minded people. All right.
You know it.
What do you think are the main challenges which most of the companies are facing at the moment in terms of customer success?
I think that honestly, a lot of companies have very little understanding or respect for retention. I think that even though the reality is boards in general and investors, they want to see retention sometimes more so than they want to see new dollars and new deals. I love new deals. New deals create jobs for all of us. But if we have bleeding out the back end where churn is just happening, all the new deals in the world is not going to cover it from a profitability lens. And I think that you can see that in the market because there was such a huge layoff, right? That started really about 2 years ago, where everyone started saying, we don't need a customer success team. We don't need a customer success team. The massive cuts started happening. Now we are seeing this. I know you see it too. They're starting to bring back customer success marginally because the customers know that they have to retain these clients. They understand they have to retain these clients. Or boards are going to be like, oh, well, why do you have this massive amount of churn? And where did these, $2 million worth of logos go? Well, they went because customer success wasn't there. And there's something about post sales proactive engagement and showing value and results that keeps customers, not to mention relationships. You and I would do things for each other because we have a relationship that we may not do for someone else. We're busy professional, you
Correct.
know?
Spot on. I think that's great. And I think it all comes down to doing a lot of adoption with your customers, making sure they're getting the value out of the platform. And that's where renewal comes in easy and retention is easy as well. Great. What do you think, or do you see any new trends in customer success recently? And if yes, what are those trends?
Yeah, I think, a couple of things. The easy one is AI, right? We want to make, all of these virtual sort of AI oriented customer success mechanisms to make our lives easier and or amplify our teams. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. Flavors of that are all over, but I absolutely love Airtable and some of the things that they're doing from just creative community repository standpoint, creating like awesome ways for interaction for customers to be able to at scale spend time together and kind of cross pollinate all the awesome things inside of a product. But then, again, I mentioned Flola. I love Gainsight Staircase. I'm a big fan of Gong. I think that a health score is only as accurate as the tools that feed it, right? And there has to be also sort of this human gut inside of that as well that helps that. Ultimately, the trend that's really there is, well, there's besides AI, there's a couple other things. Doing more with less. We're all trying to figure that out. We used to have maybe portfolios of 5 to 10 accounts. Now we have 100, 5,000. It just depends, right? And then the other thing that's just impossible to ignore, I think, is sort of this mesh, right, between what customer success is, what marketing is, and what sales is, and trying to figure out the lines inside of your ecosystem and really staking that ground in a cooperative, collaborative way. I think that's really big because, like, digital CS and marketing, right, are really starting to get closer and closer and closer and closer every day. So it's very interesting how that is going to play out, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
Great, great. And as a leader, do you have a plan to train your people to help their CS team in terms of learning more AI tools? What I'm saying is that let's say you have an AI tool in front of you, you and I, we can both input certain stuff and get the result. But the main art is the art of giving prompts, right? The more accurate prompt you give, the more accurate answer you will get. So do you see that in future companies will start investing some time learning their CS team the art of prompt engineering?
Oh yeah, yeah. In fact, I think we're already doing it. I think it's amazing. I know you see it. You asked that question because I know you're already doing it with your team, and I think it's going to happen more and more. Right? I know
Yeah.
you. I know you. And this is good. I think that it is the art of prompting. It only knows. I say it, the AI, whatever it is, whatever our flavor is to us. It knows what we tell it. I think that being able to share that and intellectually prompt is important. I'm not just doing it for my team, I'm doing it for my kid. My kid is going to a summer camp, and the actual name of it is Girls That AI. It's literally a half day kids camp for 7 year olds to go and have fun and do crafts and learn how to do some AI prompting. It's here. Like it's here. We've got to figure out how to leverage it.
And do you have this understanding? Let's say if you see a content in front of you, can you recognize it's AI based or is a real human touch in it, or it's hard to?
It's getting harder every day. It's getting harder and harder and harder every single day. And I'm a content creator. Obviously, every content creator that exists has an AI generated photograph. We all do it, right? And I can say that my AI generated photographs look a lot better now than they did when I started posting 2 years ago, right? That's just an example. But yeah.
Great. Tell us your mission behind Rebels of SaaS. Let's talk about that.
The mission of Rebels of SaaS, I think ultimately positive it's about positive rebellion, showing up and saying, "Hey, it's always been done this way. Why?" And then if you're going to disrupt, doing that right in a way that is collaborative but also with data, because I think otherwise rebellion can seem like whining, right? But it's not. What it is hey, we've done it this way forever. It may or may not be the right way. There's so many pivotal things happening in what we're doing in go to market, customer success, post sales right now. We just talked about a few of those trends. So, how are we going to pivot, right? How are we going to pivot to go to Friends because it's my favorite show ever? So, like the episode of Friends and Ross where they are trying to get the couch up the stairs. It's the same thing. We're all just trying to get the couch up the stairs right now, and we're trying to figure out how to do it. But anyway, that's what I think. That's who it is. And it literally is just, I can't say it's community because it's not. We're still trying to figure out exactly what it is. But for right now, it's sharing, advocating, and a safe space for positive rebellion and SaaS.
Great, great. For someone who wants to start their career as a customer success manager or a leader, what advice would you give to them?
Two things. Don't show up like a bull in a china shop. If you want to be in customer success, it's more about learning and it's less about knowing, because you'll never, ever, ever 150% know. There's a lot of people, including me, that are supposedly experts in what we do. You are as well. It does not mean that we know everything. You and I still, from time to time, will ask each other questions about our teams and say, hey, what about this idea? Because we understand that that is what we have to do from a leadership perspective. No one is on an island anymore. We're an interconnected world, and it should be that way because we all bring wonderful, beautiful, diverse things into our planet and into what we're doing in SaaS. That's what I think.
Great, great perspective. I'm going to ask a last question. I don't want to end this podcast. I'm still enjoying it, but I'm very
I
mindful.
know.
Okay, outside of work, what hobbies or activities you do to help maintain yourself a healthy person or be mentally focused and be more composed?
So a couple of things. Number one, I'm a foodie. I love cheese. I do. In fact, it's kind of funny because it's the thing I actually am. Christy Fauci-Russo, one of my favorite customer success executives and content sharers. She she talks about cheese a lot, and I share that with her. But I also, for fun, build Legos. Like right now, I'm working on a Kingfisher Lego bird. I just finished actually a Harry Potter train set, a shark. I'm gonna start a Jaws set. My favorite movie is Steven Spielberg's 70s Jaws, oddly enough. And vintage cookbooks. During COVID, I said, hey, I want to learn how to grow and produce. And that led to this weird just picking up dollar books at thrift stores, at different markets. And now it's a whole hutch in my kitchen. We bought this old home here in Eastern North Carolina and we wanted to preserve it. And one of the things we did was we threw a lot of old vintage cookbooks in the kitchen. And it's like, hey, this makes me happy. I also like talking to people like you and doing stuff like this and, having community. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, thought leadership, people think that it's a big moneymaker and all this. It's not. I do this because I really care about learning and growing myself and others in this community. And so, all of that being said, I really appreciate and value the relationships that I share with people like you from all over the world that I've just met on LinkedIn, that was like, hey, they're cool, they're motivated. Heck yeah, I want to be their friend.
Cool, cool. I think that's good. And at the end of the day, it's all about connecting with people, sharing your ideas, and learning about their lives and learning about their culture. I have a random question in my mind. When are you planning to come to Pakistan?
I need to come to Pakistan. I was actually just thinking about that. I need to figure that out because I would love to. And we should do like a CS meetup and like have people come out and stuff. Maybe see if if you have an appetite for that, let him know on the backside of this podcast. And then I might
I
have to come over and we'll do that.
I plan to have a community in Pakistan where customer success in Pakistan should have a meetup and connect every month or maybe quarter to share ideas. I have that plan in my mind, but it requires a lot of effort. So maybe I'll build up a team first and then execute that for sure. Thank you so much, Dana, for great talk and sharing your ideas. It was pleasure talking to you as always, and I'll see you soon. Thank you so much.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. Have a good one.